What are the Power Platform event handlers that you can target using client scripting? Hello, I'm Philip Burton of idodata.com. The PL-400 exam, Microsoft Power Platform Developer, is designed for you to design, develop, test, secure, and troubleshoot Microsoft Power Platform solutions. You'll be implementing components of a solution that include application enhancements, customer user experiences, system integrations, data conversions, and custom process automation. So one of the requirements is registering an event handler. So you can write JavaScript or TypeScript code that targets the client API object model, and then it can be triggered by, for instance, you altering something in a record. So this is part of my course, the PL-400 Microsoft Power Platform Developer, which covers the requirements of the exam. So far in the course, we have created an environment, including a model-driven app, and we've installed Visual Studio Code. In this video, I'll have a look at what the event handlers are that you can plug in your code into. I hope you enjoy it. In this video, we're going to have a look at how we can develop our model-driven app using client scripting. So here we've got our accounts model-driven app, and if I click on one of these accounts, here we can see that we've got things like the account name, the phone, the fax, and the address. Now we can do things like business rules. So if I try to type in an invalid amount of budget that an account has, then a business rule can run to say, no, you can't have that amount of money. Now, if you can use business rules, I suggest that you do so. However, what if you can't? Suppose I wanted to say I wanted to change this from phone to mobile phone, but that's depending on who the account is. So I might want to say phone in some circumstances, or I might want to say mobile phone. Or maybe I want to hide things like street 3, but only if there isn't a street 2. So some of these things might be able to be done with business rules, and it's a lot simpler if you can. But for bigger functionality, you should use JavaScript. Now, JavaScript can be used in a variety of places, like the command bar or ribbon commands. We'll be looking at that in later section. Web resources and iframes, so these are bits of HTML in your model-driven app. And you can also use them in form script event handlers. So when a form loads, or when it saves, or when a particular field changes. Now you'll hear JavaScript, you'll also hear TypeScript. Now JavaScript is Mozilla's version, JScript is Microsoft's version. So if you hear about JavaScript and JScript, well, they're roughly the same. There's also TypeScript. Well, TypeScript is just JavaScript with some additional error handling. So if you see JavaScript, if you see TypeScript, you can think they are roughly going to be the same. So what I want to do is to add some script to this form. So what I need to do is go back into my table. So I'll go Data vs Tables in the Power Apps portal. I'll go to my account table, and then I'll go over here to the forms. So here we have got our main account form, which is this one. So I'm going to edit it. And here is our form. So we have got the entire main form. And if I click on events, you can see that there are two places where forms can happen: on save and on load. So in other words, I can have some custom code running when the form immediately loads, and then when it saves. Now, if I click on a particular field, then you'll notice that the events change to on change. So I can have some code running when the user changes this particular field. Now, these are the three events that we'll be using in this section, but let's have a look at other client-side events that we could also target. So we've had a look at column and form. There is also form data on load. There's also grid and subgrid. You can target the onload, the onsave, the onchange, and on the record select. So when you select another record, the iframe control on ready state complete, the knowledge base search, so particularly useful if you're using Dynamics 365. So on result opened, on selection and post selection. If you've got a lookup control, then you can use pre-search, so you can have some code running before you have the dialog box open to search for records. You can also target the process instance and the process flow control, so when the stage changes or when it's selected. And then finally, you can also target the iframe within a tab. So you can see there are lots of different targets depending on your control. In this section, we will be focusing on form and column changes. So the way to do this is to add an event handler to either your field or the entire form. So I'll just click away from any particular field into the grey section to have the main form, and then you can add your event handler. So if I was to add an event handler, it will say what library is it from and what function. So in the next video, we're going to create a function. We're going to save it as part of a library. We're going to add it into our Power Apps environment, and then we are going to add the event handler so that it runs that function. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. This particular video is one of over 100 videos in my PL-400 course, which looks at the developer requirements in the PL-400 exam. It builds on the knowledge that you will have gained by studying for the PL-100 and PL-200 exams. And if you need some help with that, then I have courses on those as well. If you're interested in my course, then there is a link to this course in the description to this video. If you like this video, then please click like. Then why not subscribe and click that bell? That way you'll be notified of any new videos. I'm Philip Burton of idodata.com. Thank you very much for watching and keep learning.